Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to DTR. We're in Division 5 tonight in Imola. And we've got a sprint race. So we've got a short qualifying session for 18 minutes, 11 lap sprint race where there's no mandatory pit stop required. And then we've got a 33 lap race to finish the evening. And just in case you don't know how sprint races work, the qualifying session will set where you start on the grid for the sprint race, and then the sprint will determine where you start for the actual race. And the sprint session has points attached to it, so first place gets 8 points, and then all the way down to 8th will drop 1 point each place, so 8th will get 1 point, 7th 2, and so on all the way up to 8th for first. So been an interesting session today. I've not seen too much of Division 5, to be honest, so I will go and have a look at the standings. I'll talk you through where people currently are in the standings, and I'll try and keep you up to date as much as possible. But let me just get the session set up. Okay, and who is the first car out? It's an Alfa Romeo, and it is Prize Phantom. So I'll stick on board with Prize to go take you around the lap of Imola, and then we'll catch up with everyone else to see how they're getting on. So on his way out the last corner, DRS has opened. We're over the start line, down the pit straight, and you can see people joining the track on the right hand side, staying out of the way. You come up to turn 1. You want to carry momentum through there, but need to be slow into the first corner to give yourself a good exit, and you can see that you run down into a couple of chicanes. Again, another fast chicane, and you've got to take as much curb as you can without hitting those yellow sausage curbs. You can see Prizes using as much of the track as possible. Runs it a little bit wide around that hairpin, but is now finding an angle to get to the right hand side of the track, ready for this fast left-hander. You then drop down the hill, and he'll do a right hand turn into a braking zone, which takes you through a really tight sort of hairpin, and then you work your way back up the hill into a really tight chicane. You need to take that first curb, miss the second, and give yourself a good launch, and you can see it's really hard to get the power down as Prize now makes his way back down the hill. Got to be careful with this downhill braking section. Hits the apex into the last corner. Carry as much speed as you can, use as much curb on the exit, and ideally keep tucked into the inside of the track, and you'll see him going provisional pole with a 16.8. So who is behind him? We've got a Red Bull, Kruder. He's coming around the last corner now. I think he'll be the next person to set a time. Oh no, MBB has 1:17.7. Kruder comes across the line now, and he puts on a 17.2. We've got a McLaren coming around. Is that Hans? It is Hans. I think he's doing quite well in the championship. I've not looked at the table, but I see his name up there every so often. So let's see what time he puts in. BB Baldy's put in an 18.6, and Hans goes through with a 17 flat. And we've got the other Alfa Romeo coming around, which is Kitchen. He's on his way over the line. What's his first time? It's going to be in the 18s, an 18.1. And then we've got a Williams. Is it double? It is double, coming up to the line. He's with a 19.1. And then we've got a big queue of cars behind. So let's join this Mercedes. Where's the other Mercedes? Oh no, MBB on his way in. Where's Ralph is? Ralph Albers. No, he is... he's invalidated. You can see the map is red down the bottom of your corner. We'll jump on with Composite and see if he's coming around to set a time. He's still got a valid lap time. He's coming around the final corner, and he's about to come across the line. He switches his DRS on, and he puts in a 19.7. So just behind double. Skipper, his teammate, is in 10th with an 18.6, and we've got Kolesnikov that's just put a time in, a 17.9. Chef JB has also put in a 17.8. Let's see who else is on track. We've got Pete the Pirate, who has not set a time yet, so this must be his hot lap. Bit cautious through the chicane there. He's on his way back up the hill. See how he attacks this chicane. Again, just got to take some of that inside curb, and he does that time, just a little bit wide of the apex on the second corner. So it's a really tough spot, that chicane, because you can lose a lot of time and you can gain huge amounts of time if you get it right, because everyone else has to do the same thing to keep up with you. And Pirate's coming across the line now at 120.3. Got Kieran in the pit, Connor in the pit, Neuro in the pit, Jurek in the pit, Ralph in the pit, and we've got Salza. I think he's on a hot lap, and it will be the next to set a time. He's on his way up the hill. Coming up to the chicane, and he takes a bit of the first curve. That looked pretty good, that was nice and tidy. And now he's on his way down the hill, and just about to swing it round the last two corners before he goes flat out to the line in his Alpine. Open the DRS, go over the line, put your first one in, and that's a good lap. It's a 17.1. So that's a good opening lap. Who else is on track? Kudor, I think. Is he on a lap? We've been with him, haven't we? So is Composite on a lap? Let's have a look. If he's on a lap, we'll stick with Composite. No, he's not on a lap. His ERS is flashing. So let's jump on with Crudor then. His ERS is also flashing. So he must be on his way in, which means we can jump on with one of the guys that's on an out lap. Let's go with Kieran, trying to get out of the way of the Haas. I think that's Pete the Pirate though, that's on his way back in. So he's quite early in the lap. Is there anyone else? We've got a Red Bull coming round. Ralvers maybe? No, it's not the Red Bull I thought it was. Anyone else? Not as close to the line that will start a lap. So let me just see if I can get the championship up and talk through where we're at. Let's have a look at the last race. And who are the people to look out for? It was Australia last week. Right, Division 5, as Ralph is about to come over the line and start his lap. He's coming down the pit straight. So last time out, Australia, we've got Hans, who won the race. That was his second win of the season. Kerzhnikov is in second. He got a podium in Australia. He came third. We've got Connor, who came fourth in Australia. He's third in the championship. Skipper, who is fourth in the championship. He came fifth last week. Then you've got Salza in fifth, but didn't race last week. Kerzhnikov, who is not Kerzhnikov, sorry, Kitchen, who is in sixth. And he came ninth in Australia. MB didn't race last week. He's in seventh in the championship. Then we've got Club. Is he here today? I don't think I can see him. He's not here today. He's one of the reserves. He came second last time. Crudor came 11th. He's in ninth in the championship. So I think I've seen him. Yeah, he's in fourth currently. And Composite then makes up the top 10 in the championship. He came 14th in Australia, and he's improved actually to 8th place with a 17.7. So Ralphus is coming around the final couple of corners. Not been watching. I'm sure you can decide whether this is a good lap or not, but we will see. It'll all be in the timesheet. So where is he going to finish? It's an 18.2, puts himself 13th. Got a Ferrari coming across the line. Is it Skipper? If it is, we'll stick on board. He's done an 18.696. It's his fastest lap. His DRS is wide open, so I think he is on a hot lap. So let's get on board with Skipper and watch him come round. Got a bit of traffic in front of him. Hopefully we'll move out of the way. But he's taken that nicely. Just misses the apex at the second part of the chicane. Again, needs to be nice and tight into this corner. And that looks pretty tidy. On his way up the hill. That's a really low traction zone, that corner, so you've got to be careful. We've got some yellow flags up the road. And there is a car, and it's either Kitchen or it's Phantom. I spun it, not sure which. I put my money on Phantom, if I'm honest. So Skipper coming up to the chicane then. How's he going to take this? Does get a nice bit of curb, and just enough of that curb on the inside. So that is probably the best I've seen it taken today. So this could be a mega lap from Skipper. He's on his way down the hill. He's got 2 corners to go. Could have got a bit more apex, but it's fine. It's still neat and tidy, and he's got his foot down. Get to the line. What's he going to put in? It's going to be in the 17s, I think. It's a 17.5, and he puts himself into the top 10, which would be good for his championship fight. So, who else have we got out? Let's just see if it was Prize that spun it. I think it was him. He's got his ERS light on. I'd have a guess as it was him. So, Salza puts in a 17.1. I think he's on a lap now, so maybe that was his previous lap time. Didn't quite catch it. So Connor's in 5th, Nerdy in 6th. That's not seen him. We'll jump on board with him after we've watched Salza. I think he might be on his way back in though. I can't, or has he just come out? He might have just started his lap, to be fair. So Nerdy in 6th, 17.3. BV Baldy has improved. He's done a 17.5. Kitchen is on 17.5 as well. Quite a close group here in the middle. MBB makes up the top 10. He's a 17.7. So there's a few guys down here. Composite, Mork, Chef J, I think, and Kerzhnikov definitely, because he's up there in the championship. A couple of those guys will still fancy putting this a bit higher up, as it looks like Salza's just put in a purple second sector. The sectors were playing up a little bit earlier in the week, so I won't take the credit away from him, because he's up there and he's capable of it. But it was being a bit funny earlier in the week, so let's see what he puts in here. And he does go pole, provisional pole with a 16.5, so I do believe that it was right then. So yeah, he's done a 16.5. Good lap. Let's have a look at Nerdy as he comes round the final corner. Can he improve from 6th place? It's going to come over. It's in the 16s. He's up into 3rd. 16.8. Good lap from him. He'll be happy with that. Doubles on his out lap. Whereabouts is he on the track? He's in sector 1, so we'll come back to you. Let's have a look if Mork is on a... He looks like he's on a hot lap, and he's coming around the 3rd sector now, so let's see how he finishes this lap off. 5 minutes left in quali, so people will be getting ready to come out for their last run as Mork makes his way up to the line. He's going to want to improve. Can he break into that top 10? He can't. Oh, by 1,000th of a second. MBB with a 17.717. Mork with a 17.18. 17.718, sorry. Wow. Okay, so double is on his way round, and he's going to start a lap so we can watch a full lap with him. And this guy's got some raw pace, so for any of you kids out there that are looking to learn, this is the guy to watch. So he's going to want to improve on 16th place. He opens his DRS and he's on his way down to turn 1. He's got an Aston Martin coming out the pits, so stay nice and right, clip the apex, carry some speed through. Get your foot down, just a bit wide on that apex. But it's now flat out down to this next chicane, and he's missed the apex, missed that apex. Got to be clipping those apexes, it kills so much speed. You can see how much he had to slow down for it. Making his way up the hill. He's got to position his car ready for this fast left-hander. Can he clip this apex? Just a bit wide, he washes out a little bit. He's not invalidated, so he's going to keep his foot in. Cut a little bit more of that apex, but nice and tidy up the hill. And he's coming across this chicane. So will he cut the first chicane? That's what he's got to do. You've got to cut that first sausage curve. He gets a bit of it. Nice and neat on the way out. Good traction on exit. He's on his way down the hill. Can he break into the top 10? I think it might be a bit of a push. Sector 1 wasn't his best. And again, just missing the apex. Got to get tighter in there, and it will let you carry a bit more speed through. But he's done quite well on the exit of the final turn. Where is this going to put him? DRS is open. He's in the 18s. He's improved by a place. He's up to 15th. Who else have we got? We've got Price seems to be out. Is he on a hot lap? No, he's still charging. Hans is invalidated. Kruder, are you on a lap? Let's have a look. I can't tell. He doesn't look like he's... Oh no, he is. He's using his ERS, so he must be on a lap. He's got tons of traffic in front of him. He's just coming around Sector 2 now. As he slings his way in, we need these cars to get out of the way. Very aggressive up the hill, you've got to be. But this Ferrari needs to get out of the way. And he does. Just, I think that's okay. Crudor now making his way down to these last couple of corners. Let's see if he can get into this apex. He does. And again, takes a nice chunk of the apex and now can get a really good exit. He's slung-shot himself around. Someone's just moved themselves up the board. Didn't see who it was. But Crudor stays 5th. He's 4 tenths up on that time. Hans is in 4th. Nerdy 3rd. Prize 2nd. Sauser in 1st. So, who was it that we saw coming round earlier? Nerdy is about to start his hot lap. Is anyone further around the lap? Prize is. And Sauser's just starting lap. So Prize will be first, but he's still charging his ERS. I wonder if he's going for 2 warm-up laps. So, who was the next? So, Nerdy's on his way round. Sauser is on his way out of the first sector. So, we'll stick with Sauser and then we'll jump back on with Nerdy and see how he's getting on. And I think Nerdy has put it out. Yeah, he's put it in the wall. Okay, so we won't jump on with him. But see if Sauser can push that lead. So, Nerdy's not going to be able to improve, I don't think. I can't see the timer in the top corner. We've got some yellow flags. And that's a Ferrari again getting out of the way nicely. Sousa now comes up to the chicane. Again, takes a nice bit. Okay, that's how to take that corner. He's clipped the first one. He took probably a little bit too much of the second one, but it honestly wasn't bad. It's best I've seen it taken today. Again, slingshotting himself around these corners nicely. Taking a bit of the apex. Could go a bit wider on that curve, so could carry a bit more speed, but it's a good lap. Has he increased his time? He has. It's a 16.3, so he's 5 tenths ahead of Prize, who's in second. Prize has now started his final flying lap, but let's just have a look and see if anyone a bit further down. They all seem to be getting out of the way. Okay, so Prize is the man to watch then. Oh, as he's gone round, should have stayed with him through the second set of chicanes. He's lost it, so he's not going to improve on his time. Has Nerdy got enough time? I can't see the clock in the top corner. He's coming down for a run, so... Oh, no, I think he's just missed it. Ooh, I could be wrong. Let's try and come back to him, because if he did make it, he'd be the last one. So Skipper now, he's 3 tenths. The timer reckons he's 3 tenths up on his time, so he's going to have to find something big in this last sector to do anything to break into that top 10 really. He's 6 tenths up, so I'm going to jump away from him as MB looks on track to match his last time. He's going to need 3 tenths to get up into that top 10. So let's see if he can find it through here. Here it comes up to the chicane. Now this is huge, this part, and there's some cars getting out of the way nicely, and that's a good chunk of cut. That's done very well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's gained a lot of time there. I wouldn't be surprised at all, as this Williams needs to get out of the way. Let's hope he doesn't slow him down. I think he's just far enough ahead. I don't think he's going to get in the way. And again, you just got to be careful of those sausage curves. You can see it's just pushed him wide, but can he improve on his time? Keep it close to the wall, take the shortest line to the wrap, and it's a 17.2. He has improved. It's 9th. So good from MBB. There's only Crudor still out there, and he has parked the car up. So that is your order. So Sauser absolutely blasting the field with a 16.3, and Nerdy obviously didn't get through. So he didn't get over the line quick enough. So Prize Phantom had some troubles in that qualifying, but did enough early on with a 16.8. And then we saw Nerdy was going to be in 3rd position. So we've got an Alpine, an Alpha, and an Alpha Tauri in the top 3. We've then got Connor in the Mercedes, Kersnikov in the Aston Martin, Hans Buehler in the McLaren, Crudor for the Red Bull, and then we've got the Ferrari of Composite in 8th. The only 2 teammates... Oh, there's 2 groups, isn't there? There's Mercedes and the AlphaTauri. The only 2 that have got both drivers in the top 10. MBB 9th, JB in the AlphaTauri in 10th, BV Boldy in 11th. We've then got Kitchen, Skipper, Mork Double, Raubers We've got Kieran or Requise in 17th, and then Pete the Pirate in 18th. We've got Nuno in 19th, and then Jurek. I don't remember seeing him set a time. I didn't get to see it on the menu. I'm sure you guys would have seen it, but that is your grid. That is the lineup for your sprint race. I haven't seen any weather reports. Let's just see if any of the drivers have put anything in the group. I don't think they have. Okay, so Jurek was actually serving a quali ban, which is why he didn't set a time. And it doesn't look like there's any rain for the sprint from what I can see on screen. It might come later if there is any, but no one's reported any, so... Let's see if Sousa can blast away the opposition like he did in qualifying. This, and just to talk about the lap really, is you will see. Oh, here we go. On your way round the lap, I don't know why I'm starting at the back. So this is turn 1, which I can guarantee we will see some action into there off the line. We've seen a couple of crashes there at turn 1 on the first lap of the race in other divisions, because it's just so tight and everyone's arriving so quickly. So I'm sure we'll see some action in there. This is coming out of this corner here as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a spinner up here at some point. We've got 11 laps. I think we've got... I'm assuming everyone will be on the mediums because the softs just won't make it. And they are. Everyone's on the medium tyre. The hard is actually a really good option around here. But everyone's opted for the mediums. It will get you the length of the sprint. And then again, you've got the sort of uphill chicane that will also cause some problems. And this corner here seems to be a favourite for people to chuck an overtake into. So it's going to be full of action this race. We're going to see if Sousa, who's seems to have blasted out into miles out into the lead, like his tyres might get a bit cold by the time the rest of this pack gets round. You can see Prize is just coming out of the last corner now, who decides to cool his tyres down on the grass for some reason. So Sousa's going to be sat there a long time. You can see that some of the guys haven't even come out the chicane yet. But I'm sure by going around that quickly, he will have got quite a bit of heat in the tyres, so you'd hope they'd cling on to it. But the other thing to watch out for, and don't seem to get a good camera angle at the start here, but we'll jump on board with Sousa for the start and look back. But the right-hand side of the grid seems to have far less grip than the left-hand side of the grid. So if you're going to see people moving through the field, it's probably going to come from the left-hand side. As they're all lining up now. Jurek at the back, who served his quali ban. Not sure how quick he is. Could be out of place at the back. But let's jump on board and look back, because I can't get a good camera angle. And unfortunately the menu's going to be in the way, but we're going to look back. They're off. And you can actually see that Price has got a very good start, and so has Connor Havoc. So I wonder if it's the right-hand side of the grid box end that's got grip. There's a turn already. There's 3 or 4 cars. Composite's retired. He's out. There's 4 or 5, and that's going to be a safety car, surely. We're under yellow flags. I think there is a safety car, and it's a huge pileup. Look at this mess. There's a Williams in there. I think that's Kieran. I think Double survived it and got through. He has. There's a lot of penalties being dished out here, so I'm not sure who caused it. All I saw was, I think, BV Boldy getting turned, or it might have been Pete, not really sure, but one of the Hasses got turned, so there was a locking of wheels. Composites just stuck on the pit straight, and his car's been removed. I think this is just a virtual safety car, but Prize Phantom got into the lead. I didn't see how that happened. Because I thought Salza was leading into the first corner, so no idea what's happened. I don't know if Salza has lost it under the safety car. Is it a virtual safety car? I mean, there's flags everywhere. It's green, we're racing, so I think it was virtual. Price has got a half a second gap. Connor Havoc then in third, who is a second and a half back already. So these two, you would think, if Prize Phantom doesn't spin it, should end as 1-2 in this sprint race if they're creating that type of gap already. As Phantom takes the fastest lap of the race, which is not surprising. He led the lap and got away very, very well. Double is up to 10th, not in the points for the sprint race, but there's been a lot of movers. Let's just have a quick look. There's quite a few cars coming into the pits. We've got Kitchen, Mork, Nuno, Kieran, MBB, and there's a bit of flipping around, so if I've missed someone I'm sorry, but Nuno's on his way out the pits. So yeah, plenty of people going into the pits. Let's see if they have decided to change their tyre. Oh, Salza makes a mistake. Just saw that as I was changing the menu. So that promotes Connor, and this is Prize Phantoms for the taking now. Wow, so there's now a 3-second gap, and there's an Alpine that's spun at the back. I think that might be Nuno, or is it Kieran? I think it's Nuno. So Prize has got a huge gap. And Connor's coming under pressure from Kerzhnikov. And Hans Boer is also in that group. And Nerdy has dropped down to 5th. He's at the back of this pack. And Krudor is also there in 6th. And then there's a small gap back to Skipper. And then Salza, who just made that mistake. And then Pete the Pirate, who's in 9th. And then Double in 10th. Remember, only the top 8 in the sprint are going to get points. So Pete and Double need to catch that pack and see if they can nick a point. And a good starting place for the start of the race. But Prize Phantom miles out in the lead currently, and really only a mistake. Oh, as you can see, there's a mistake from Connor, and Kerzhnikov's come through. It's look, Hans Boer's on the inside of him, and Nerdy's trying to take advantage around the outside. He's now trapped, but he's just found some space. So Kerzhnikov takes advantage of the mistake. Connor causes carnage, and I think Hans is the one that loses out, who's now trying to attack Nerdy on the inside. He's running around the outside of Nerdy, sorry. And just tucks in behind, and Krudor's just looking for an opportunity, but there's not one there currently. So, a mistake from Connor. He loses a place to Kerzhnikov, who makes his way through. Connor keeps hold of third. There's a bit of Nerdy was trying to take advantage. He does get a point as he's pushed him around the track. Nerdy gives him a nudge and spins him, so Hans is now promoted up to third, but I wonder if he's just got done for an illegal overtake, which is why Nerdy is now up into third. Krudor is in 5th. I wonder if there will be a report on that. It looked to me like Nerdy gave him a nudge, but we'd have to see the onboards, and there's a bit of a fight with Hans and Krudor now. So Krudor's right on the bumper of Hans, and Hans is just keeping him at bay currently. So let's jump on board Krudor, who just runs it a bit wide there, so had to get out the throttle. Skipper's looking to try and join this pack and take advantage of some of the carnage that's going on ahead. Whilst we've been talking about it, Prize Phantom has pulled out a 6-second gap. Kerzhnikov's 3 seconds then ahead of Nerdy in third. So those two really should be quite comfortable with their position. Just don't make a mistake, lads. But let's jump up with Krudor and we can watch what's going on in front of him. So it's Nerdy from Hans, then Krudor. And you can see that Salza and Kitchen have dropped onto the soft tyres. I don't expect them to make it to the end with a lot of pace in them, if I'm honest. But they should make it, like wear-wise. And they'll be hoping for a safety car, which brings them back into the race as Mork gets past Kitchen. And Mork's on the medium tyres, interestingly. So let's just jump on with Nerdy, who looks like he's pulling out a bit of a gap, and will probably need to get on with it if he does get a penalty for that hit on Connor. I think him and Connor, to be fair, are good mates, so I'm sure there won't be any grudges in there. As Double's made his way into the points, and that's because of the mistake by Connor, I think. I mean, Connor started to cause all of it by making a mistake into turn 2, and it just all started unravelling from there. So you see that Double is now under pressure from Connor. Let's jump on with Connor, but Connor looks like he's struggling in a straight line. Looks like Double's got good straight line speed. And Double's just trying to put some pressure on Pete here, and Connor's trying to put pressure on both of them. So let's jump on board with Double, and we'll be able to see what happens from this camera angle. So Connor is being patient currently. Double's done very well to get up to 8th. I think he started down somewhere like 16th place. And if he can hang on to this, that'll be another championship point. I think he picked up... Oh, and he's run very wide. He manages to get back on the track safely and ahead of Connor. So just got to be careful. Like, just got to be tidy to the end. Because it doesn't look like Connor's got the speed on him down the straight. So if he can just hold his nerve, and he looks a bit slow out of the chicane there. And I think he's looking like a man under pressure. Just making a few mistakes as we've got yellow flags, and it's full yellow flags. So is that going to be a safety car? I think it's a virtual. It could turn into a full one. It is a Red Bull. Is it Raubers? It is. He's lost it at the... Oh, he's been disqualified for parking on the chicane, I think. Okay, so this is probably a good time to just do a quick recap while we're waiting for the race to go again. So Price is up a place, Kersnikov up 3, Nerdy's kept his place in 3rd, potential penalty coming. We've got, oh, Crudor, was he off or am I just seeing things? Oh, we're back racing again. So Nerdy has got hands all over the back of him, so something's happened to close that pack up. There are 3 again. So... Yeah, anyway, Crudor up 2, Skipper up 7 into the points, Pete DePora up 11 into 7th, and as I said, Double up 7, so this is good stuff from him. Connor's down 5, we saw him make a mistake and then got punted round this corner that Double's coming up to now. And he's run very wide, he's over the sausages curbs, and Connor's going to want to take advantage of that. I think he's going to get through, he's got the run on him, but can Double keep his nose in there? He doesn't, he backs out, he lives to fight another day, and... Again, there's something bigger to worry about here. You've got to think about your starting place in the race. So he doesn't really want to tangle up too much. He's starting to cause a bit of a queue behind him now as Chef and Urek and Nerdy and Hans are having a bit of a fight, and Hans blasts past him on the straight. He's going to have Crudor for company in a second, but he's a little bit further back. So, interesting battle up here, as you can see. Crudor all over the back of Nerdy. If he can get a good exit out of this corner here, as Pete the Pirate picks up a 3-second penalty, so that brings Double back into the game. As he was having a fight and Double's dropped down to 10th. It looked like a 3-way battle there. Let's just go and have a quick look at it. As it looks like Double's come off worse there. He's dropped down to 11th. And that's unfortunate. I mean, Double's got people with a lot of penalties in front of him. Let's have a look at these penalties. So we've got a 5-second, a 5-second, an 8-second, and a 5-second. So Double could actually see himself moving up 3 places, which gets him his point back. So he's just got to stick to the back of these cars in front of him. But we're going to come back up and join as yellow flags again. Looks like it's an Alpine down at turn 2. As Crudor is the man to watch here. He's all over the back of Nerdy. Skipper hasn't quite managed to close up the gap to this pack. So he's got the DRS. Nerdy's got the DRS. Been helped from Hans, but you can see that Crudor doesn't look like he's got much ERS left on board. So yeah, he backs out of the move. I think it would have been a bit of a dive if he was going to do it. MBB now picks up the penalty. He's down in 14th, and Crudor just can't position his car where he can make a clean overtake, and it is bringing Skipper into play. He's just not close enough. So Nerdy under huge pressure, and I don't know what's happened. He looked like he was pulling away from these two, and suddenly it's Hans pulling away from Nerdy. So Prize looks like he's just taking his time out in front. That gap's down to 5.5 seconds, but not really coming down quick enough. Kersnikov is 5 seconds back of him. He's got a 2-second gap to Hans. Again, not really been keeping an eye on that gap. It does look like it's coming down. He's already taken 3/10, so Hans is on one. This group of 3 look like they're going to catch the back of Kersnikov before the end of the sprint, and if they do, could make a very interesting last lap. Prize has got control of the race. Just no mistakes from him, as we can see. There's a bit of a fight going on in front. Is that? Oh, is someone getting lapped, or is that a fight at the back of the pack? It is a fight at the back. So they just need to be conscious that we've got some front markers coming round. So don't get in the way of Kerzhnikov, boys. As Hans is now, and there you go, he's moving out of the way. So that's good work from him. As yeah, Hans is now closing in. He's nearly a second back from Kerzhnikov, but this traffic's slowing him down a little bit, I think. He's made his way through now. So he's got another half second to find now, because it's just taking a little bit of time to clear the traffic. As Jurek moves his way up. Double is still in 11th place, and currently he's looking like he's going to get that 8th place if he can just hang around. No mistakes. And he'll pick up a point, and that would be a fantastic result from him. He's going to have BV Baldy for company, but Hans just seems to be dropping back now. Kerzhnikov's sort of picked it up again, and we've got some more yellow flags. It's a Mercedes in turn 1 or 2, sorry. It must be MBB, I think, because Connor's at this end of the track, so having some trouble round into that second corner by the look of it. And again, traffic moving out of the way. Hans is on his way through. And Prize is getting caught, but again, it's not quick enough. The gap's too big, and he's starting to pull that lead back out. So this is probably your closest battle on track. As Kudor, sorry, has got past Nerdy, and I didn't see it. We've missed it. I'm sorry. So Nerdy is just moving backwards a little bit. Not sure what's happened. I wonder if he's picked up a bit of damage. I can't see anything on his wing. No, I mean his wing looks fine. Maybe just the tyres. Maybe he's just done a bit too much to the tyres. As Chef JB moves up a place and Double moves up. So I wonder if, yes, there is a spin. It's Jurek, and it's that turn 2 again, causing problems. So Double is up into 10th. He's got 2 people ahead of him that are going to get penalties. So again, he's just got to stick. He's 2 seconds back of Jay. Needs to keep within another 3 seconds. So just keep your head down. Get that last point, as Crudor now looks like he is, as Kieran picks up a penalty. We've got 3 cars that are out of the race. Mork, Composite and Raubers was disqualified. As we've got some more yellow flags, but I think that is Jurek again. I wonder if his tyres are just a little bit hot. But Crudor is probably the closest man to making an overtake here, and you can see that Hans is out of ERS, so I wonder if that's why. Wonder if that's why he now can't close up on Kerzhnikov, because he's just blasted his whole ERS out, and I think he's quite quick on the straights by the look of the track guide. As Double is now starting to catch Chef, so he is well within that 5 seconds that he needs to pick up that point. The 5 and the 8 seconds. And not too much action going on really. Kudor's the man, as Double and so has Pete made a mistake? He's parked up, so that changes things. So Double's now up to 9th on track. Again, he's 2 seconds back of Chef, so that's enough, as Pete's just making his way back onto the track. Very unfortunate for him. He was having a very good sprint. Does have 8 seconds of penalties though, so it would have dropped him a long way down the field. Not really too much to talk about in the way of battles, so let's look at Prize coming over the final corner to pick up his win in the sprint race, and that's top work from Prize. Well done. Kerzhnikov's going to come through to pick up 2nd. Hans coming through in 3rd. Crudor makes his way up into 4th. Nerdy, a bit unfortunate, in 5th. Skipper makes his way through to 6th. Connor, unfortunate couple of mistakes, and then took a bit of a penalty. He's in 7th, and Chef is coming round in 8th, and not going to get 8th though, because hats off to this man's made his way up the pack and will finish 8th and pick up a championship point. BV Baldy coming through in 10th. Sauser, unfortunate, started on pole, made a mistake. He's in 11th, so all the works to him to do in the race. Jurek is coming round in 12th. All these guys have got penalties, so it's not going to change the order too much. We've then got MBB coming out of the chicane. he should take 13th, barring no mistakes into these last couple of corners. We've then got Kieran, who's blasted all of his ERS by the look of it, rounding 14th. And Pete, so unfortunate. He was looking so good for large chunks of this race. Oh. And decides to cut the corner for some reason. Probably doesn't think I'd be watching him. But to be fair, the two behind him were a lap down and the race is finished. So I'm sure the other drivers will be appreciating the fact that he's getting round as quickly as possible to get the actual race started. So let's just run through that again. Prize absolutely dominated this race. We didn't see much of him, so a deserved winner. Picks up 8 points for his championship. Had a very disappointing last week actually. He was in, I think, second place, or he might have even been first, and then got hit by a back marker as they were coming out of the pits. And then we've got Kerzhnikov in second, made his way up. Hans in third, Crudor in fourth, and Nerdy is in fifth, picks up some points. Will be a bit disappointed. He did start a bit higher than that, but it's all still to play for in the race. Skipper picks up some points in sixth. Connor Havoc is in seventh. Again, he'll be a bit disappointed. Double in eighth, picking up a championship point. That's great from him. He started down in 16th. Chef in 9th. BB Baldy makes up the top 10. Salzer in 11th with it all to do. Jurek after his quali ban made his way up to 12th. MBB 13th. We've got Kieran 14th. Pete in 15th. And then we've got Kitchen and Nuno, who were a lap down, 16th, 17th. And then the final three runners that DNF'd. So we're moving over into the race. Looks dry again. Not a cloud in the sky, so I'm assuming we're going to have a dry race. The cars are off for their formation lap. As we'll just do another quick review of the standings, mainly for my benefit, because I don't often commentate on this league, so it'd just be good to remind myself who is up there. So Hans leading the championship, Kerzhnikov in second, who is second in this race. We've got second and third at the top of the championship. We've then got Connor, who is in seventh. Skipper in fourth, and he's in sixth today. Salzer, who we saw made that mistake, is down in 11th, I believe. Kitchen, he's down in 16th, so he's got a lot of work to do. MBB's in 7th, so he's in 13th today, so he's got a lot of work to do. Club's not here. Crudor's doing well, he's in 9th. So he's up in 4th in the race so far. And then we've got Composite in 10th, who is currently... yes, he was the car that got taken out off the line in the sprint. So we saw some utter carnage on even just down the straight in the first lap. So more of the same, I would assume, into the first corner of the actual race. But this track is one that you just got to hang around. If you can make it to the end, there's a good chance you're going to be picking up points. I raced here yesterday and I was 16th for pretty much the whole race. And it got down to the last 5 laps, the safety car came out. And as the safety car went in, there was just a whole bunch up at turn 1. And I flew through it and picked up 6th place. So it's a race just to hang in there. So these guys down the back of the field, there's hope. And it can happen as early as lap 1. It can happen on lap 29. It can happen at any point. So you just got to hang around as Double misses his parking box, which is not going to help him get off the line. So it can happen at any time. So you just got to hang around, make it to the end of the race, and see how many points you pick up. Promise you, there will be points on the board for you. So we've not got a very good view again. So let's jump on board, look back, and then I'll try and remember to change the camera angle. So Phantom, can he get away? Is Kurzhnikov going to get him into turn 1? Phantom looks like he's got off to a great start. The McLaren behind him has as well. He's got a great launch. Kurzhnikov's in trouble. Looks like he's dropping back a little bit, but there's plenty of space back there. There's a lot of cars bunching up behind, but it looks clean so far as the McLaren cuts the first corner. But it looks like the top 3 have switched slightly. So we've got Phantom out in the lead. Hans is in second, Kurzhnikov third, Kudor in 4th, Skipper in 5th, Nerdy in 6th. We've got Double up to 7th. So he's made up a place. Urex up to 8th, BB Boldy up to 9th, MB up to 10th. A little bit of a battle going on back here, but it all looks very clean. So that's your top 10. Prize looking to open up this gap. He's nearly a second away from Hans already. So if he can get that time in the bank, he'll be very, very happy with that. As Kitchen makes his way past Jay, and we've got some yellow flags. It's someone down into the... It's into the chicane. It looks like there's a couple of cars in there. It's Sauser. Sauser and Chef, maybe Pete caught up in that as well, potentially. But there's a collision with Chef. So Urek makes his way past Double as we stay on board with Prize, who's trying to pull out that second gap. He's got one more lap to do it before DRS will get involved. We've got Kurzhnikov, who's trying to catch the back of Hans. He's only half a second back. We then got Krudor in 4th. The gap's opening up a little bit there, but Skipper is starting to stay close to the back of him, and Skipper will just bide his time in this race. He's one of the guys that's got a cool head, and he knows that if he can just get to the end of this race, as Double looks like he's getting overtaken again. It's a double overtake on him there. As BB Boldy looks like he took to the grass on exit, but gets the job done. MBB gets round Double as well. As it looks like BB gets a bit wide, but gets a good run off the curb, and away he goes. So it's been pretty clean so far. Let's just have a look. Double is looking at MBB, putting some pressure on BB Boldy. And Double just had to get on the brakes there as MBB takes an opportunity on BB Boldy to go round the outside. And out of the chicane they go. And this is the battle for 9th place as Double is getting quite close. And it looked like Double was quite quick on his straight line, but he's run a bit deep. And he's running deep again. Just got to get the car rotated. He's now going to get some pressure from Kitchen, who's going to want some points. So there's not too much to talk about. I mean, Hans is starting to reel in Prize at the front. Nerdy's probably the closest man on track. He's right behind Skipper, putting pressure on. So let's stick with Nerdy for a minute and see if he can push his way up to the back of Skipper and put some pressure on as he just misses the apex. He recovers it for the second part of the section. He's running a bit wide. Kitchen is out of the race, just behind where we are right now, and there's yellow flags. There's going to be no further overtaking for now, and if there is, you will get in trouble. So do not overtake. It's a full virtual safety car, I think. The whole track is yellow, which normally means virtual safety car. The full safety car hasn't come out. It's not been upgraded. So let's see. As Nerdy was the closest man on track. Chef looks like he has gone in the pits. I assume he's picked up some damage. He hasn't quite got past the incident yet, but the car has gone. And I'm assuming we're going to get racing any second. Composite gets a drive-through penalty. That's because he would have been over the delta. So it definitely was a virtual safety car. But look at this up front. Hans Buer is putting some pressure on Prize, and Kerzhnikov's there as well for good measure. So 3 of them. So Prize has not had a good virtual safety car. He must have been scared of the delta. And Hans has taken complete advantage of it. He's 2 tenths back. There's a bit of fighting down the back of the field. Looks like Pete, Neuro and Sauser have got past Composite, who's gone in to serve that drive-through, I think. So Prize has managed to pull out half a second, but Hans is still keeping there. So I wonder if we saw that Hans likes to use a bit of ERS. So probably burning it. Doubles down to 11th now. He's just been overtaken by Connor, who obviously didn't get off to the best of starts this race. And I'm sure he was up in 7th, as we have got MBB, who's gone off at the fast left-hander just before you come downhill into that chicane, and you can see that Hans has just gone wide, and that might just buy Prize a bit of breathing space, but does it? He might have got a warning for that, because it looked like it gave him a bit of an advantage. And Prize Phantom has absolutely blasted his ERS, so he's going to find it hard to defend. See his lights flashing, it means he's under 10%. Prize Phantom does put in the fastest lap of the race, so I wonder if he's used it to try and pull away a little bit. It's not worked, and Hans is now all over the back, and Kerzhnikov's just struggling to keep up with this pack now as BV Boldy's in the pit. So that promotes Connor up to 8th, Double up to 9th, Morks into the top 10, and he's only a 10th back on Double. What's happening here? As he gives him a bit of a shunt into the turn 1. I wonder if that was a bit of lag rather than an actual shunt, because it didn't look like it upset Double's car too much. So they live to fight another day. So let's just go back up front. No, we will stick with that battle because it is the closest one on track at the moment. But let's have a quick look at tyre choices. We've got Mork and Kieran decided to go in softs. They're not going to last long at all. And then you've got Qdor and Connor on hards. And hards are such a good tyre around here, we found out last night. So let's see what everyone's strategies are. But these hard tyres can go sort of 22 laps, and they're not quick to start with, but the mediums drop off so quickly that the hard tyres just become the tyre of choice. So it looks like Double and Mork has sort of settled back down a little bit. Double's keeping to the back of Connor, which is good, but Hans is right on the back of Prize now, and he's side by side, and he's going to get through into turn 1. He's got the outside line. Prize is not there to be able to defend it, and Hans, the championship leader, takes over the lead of the race. Prize is out of ERS. That could bring Kerzhnikov onto his tail. He's taken about a 10th out of him just down this straight. You can see, it looks like Kerzhnikov, his internet might be struggling a little bit. It looks like his car's sort of jolting over the road a little bit, which is not great. We've got some more yellow flags, and who is that? That's not Double, is it? It is Double. Oh, he was having such a good race. Turn 2, he's captured so many people today, and Double is just the latest person to get caught out, as Nerdy is now putting some pressure on Skipper. He's only 3 tenths back. Prize Phantom and Double is dropping more places. I think his tyres are on fire. His tyres are on fire. But we'll get back to Nerdy, who is 4 tenths back as Skipper. Well, Skipper looks like he just got a bit out of shape, but he's recovered it well. And Nerdy actually falling back a little bit, and Prize Phantom is out of the DRS zone of Hans. But as I say it, ooh, he pulls back into it. It's gone back out. So Hans puts in the fastest lap of the race. Prize Phantom, we know, is struggling with his ERS management, and Kerzhnikov is now 2 seconds back, so I think those top 3 are sort of spaced out nicely. And here comes Nerdy. He's making the move on Skipper. He's gone down the inside. He's already passed him, so Skipper will not be defending that place. So Nerdy gets through. Skipper 3 tenths back is closing, so let's just stick with it and see if Skipper can fight back. Otherwise everyone looks pretty well spread across the field. And you can see that Prize Phantom is just sort of flicking in between DRS activation and not, so it's pretty close. As Mork is in DRS of Connor as well, down in 9th. So we'll sort of... Oh, as Prize Phantom has made half a second up on Hans. I wonder if Hans had a bad chicane, because Prize is now in DRS zone. That neither of them have got ERS now. They were both flashing, and they're both flashing now, so they're obviously using. And Prize's wing wide open, as there's someone coming out the pits as they go to overtake. MBB picks up a 3-second time penalty, and Prize is back in the lead of the race. He just about gets the car slowed down enough. He does take the sausage curves, but it's fine. It didn't imbalance the car. Kerzhnikov is looking on from the background, and we've got a Williams. It's double with the blue flags. As you can see, he's running wide in the background. Krudor's coming up to him now, so let's see if Double does the right thing and gets out of the way. He looks like he's moving out of the way for him, but Krudor just hasn't got the traction to get up there with him. There's a bit of carnage going on a bit further down this field as MBB comes off, and I wonder if he got hit by Ralvers there. That was into turn 1, and BB Boldy picks his way through it. There's some more cars coming, you can see, just trying to make their way through, and Salz is about to come around the corner now, and I think it's all going to be cleared by the time he gets there, but he's gonna like the look of that happening in front of him, because it's now going to pull him back into this race, as Composite is now the closest man on track, and he's on the back of Ralpher. He's 3/10 back, and he's looking to try and make a move around the outside. May have got a warning for that, just got off the track, as Hans is now putting some pressure back on Prize. Let's go back up to the front. As they're coming down the straight, there's just no way through. Prize. Ooh. Is that a bit of weaving under braking? I don't really know. We'll let the stewards worry about that one. Hans is now pushing his way down the outside. There's contact. Prize is on the inside line. He's cutting the chicane. You can't turn in there when there's a car there, but they got through safely. Hans back in the lead of the race. Bold move from him. This is a great battle up front. They just need to make sure that they're careful as Prize gets sideways out of that corner, which gives Hans a bit of breathing space, but it brings Kerzhnikov right back into the DRS zone. So if he can get his foot down, he will start to join this battle. So these front three, they're a little bit further ahead of the field, but they're bringing us some good action. Composite's still half a second back on Ralvers, hasn't been able to close that gap too much. Kerzhnikov is the closest man on track and is gaining on Prize down the hill. Let's see if his ERS light is not flashing. So Prize could be vulnerable here. And you can see on Kerzhnikov's wheel that he has stored some ERS. So Prize could be in a bit of trouble here, and I think he's going to use the DRS to try and store up a little bit more. He doesn't need to make the overtake now. This is very sensible driving from Kerzhnikov. He knows the two in front of him are absolutely draining it, and they've been fighting each other for so long. But Phantom's peeled off at 1.5 seconds. Hans has got plenty of breathing space out in front. But there just seems to be certain points in this race. There's certain points around the track where Prize seems to be a bit stronger, and then Hans, I think Hans is a bit quicker on the straights. So Kerzhnikov, other than Composite really, and Mork, probably the closest man on track. And it's all about that chicane seems to be the one where people are either gaining, and it's like I said in qualifying, you either gain a lot of time in there if you get it right. If you get it wrong though, you could get so penalised by it. And Kerzhnikov opens up his DRS. Is he giving it a little blast of ERS? I don't think he is. He's just going to keep banking it. And he knows he doesn't... The race isn't won here. As he just gets onto the grass, so has to be a bit careful. But he's still done a clean enough job to keep gaining on Prize through there. So for any football fans out there, anyone listening to the stream, Tottenham are 2-0 up against Manchester City. Interesting. Tottenham might have just won the league for Arsenal, you never know. I'm sure Tottenham fans won't be thinking like that, but Arsenal fans will certainly have a bit of a laugh about it. Mort gets past Composite. And Kerzhnikov on his way up the hill and on his way to the chicane. You can see Hans out in front, just extending that lead by about a tenth on this lap. And looks like he's got a good exit out of the chicane this time. Doesn't lose any time to these two. Kerzhnikov is really on the back of him. I think he's starting to use a bit of ERS. It looks like it's he's used a little bit to be honest, and he looks a lot closer coming onto this straight, and I think he is using it now. So he's going to be right up the behind of Prize, if not past him, by the time we get into turn one. Here he comes. He's taken the outside line. Prize is not there to defend it. And Kerzhnikov, that is very sensible racing. He waited until he was close enough. He deployed the ERS. He got round him, and now he's just got to try and blast it off up the road. And he's left a lot in the tank. You can see he's using it now just to try and get that gap from Prize. Catch Hans, and Prize has made a mistake. He's kept it on track. You can just see him in the background. Crudor is now going to be all over the back of him. Prize is not giving him any space whatsoever. That's dangerous. That is dangerous from Prize. You've got to be careful there. I know you don't want to lose a position, but that's racing. You can't block off someone's line through. So let's see if the stewards want to say anything about that later in the race. But Crudor is trying to put some pressure on him. Prize's tyres might just be that little bit hotter than they should be. And Crudor is really... he's got plenty of ERS in the tank as well. So if he was sensible, he would wait. He'll get onto this thing. He'll open up his DRS. He'll activate his ERS. And he will breeze past into turn one. So here he comes. He's already gaining on him. DRS is open. His ERS is on. He could probably even turn it off about now. And he's made it past him already, look. And he's a long, long way. So, sensible driving from Crudor here as well. So, Hans out in the lead of the race since he got past Prize. And people have been putting pressure on Prize. And he's made that vital mistake. And he now picks up a 3-second time penalty to compound it. So... he just needs to get his head back on here, Prize. He's quick enough to win this race. But he's just making mistakes, which is costing him. Got to get your head back on. Hit those apexes and just worry about the next 20 or so laps. And do them as quickly as you can. As quickly as your tyres will let you. Don't push it too hard. And you'll pick up a decent points haul, as Nerdy has probably seen Prize further down the road and is fancying his chances. But you can see the whole field is, I mean, pretty evenly spread out, and there's just not too much action really to watch here. And we'll stick on with Nerdy and just see if he can close this gap to Prize. But Prize is in the DRS, or Prize comes into the pits. So he's coming early. I wonder if he'll go onto the hards. Let's get the tyre allocation up. See what he swaps onto. I think he'll go on the hards and he'll go to the end. Yeah, he has. Skipper also pits. As I said earlier, once you get the hard tyres going and the mediums start to drop off, it's actually a really good tyre. So Crudor will probably start to quicken up, I would assume. Or he won't quicken up. The medium runners will just start to struggle. So I've seen the hard tyres. I've seen a couple of guys sort of doing 28, 29 laps on them. So wouldn't surprise me if they come in soon, but it just depends on whether they're able to do consistent lap times on those mediums. So we'll run through the field just while there's not really too much action going on. There's quite big gaps in between everyone. So just to remind ourselves, Hans has fought his way up to the lead of the race. He's made up 2 places as Kerzhnikov jumps into the pits. He's done well. He was up into 2nd place. He's going to come in and I assume fit those hard tyres. Crudor started on the alternative strategy on the hard tyres. is up into second now. I think it's a net P3 because of Kerzhnikov in the pits. Jurek, who he was serving a quali ban, he's up into third. It's not actually third because of the people that are pitted. Nerdy's also pitted. Connor's on his way up to fourth place. He's on the hard tyre. He's on the alternate strategy. So if he can make that work, then he will be gaining quite a few places. Kerzhnikov, as we've seen, is just pitted. Prize is pitted. And behind Kerzhnikov, due to a couple of mistakes, Nerdy has come out. He's just pitted. So I think there's a couple of guys ahead, 3 guys ahead of him that haven't pitted. So he is net P4 and is trying to catch and overtake Prize Phantom. And then we've got Skipper in 8th. Salzer's made his way back up to 9th after a couple of early mistakes. I'm assuming he hasn't pitted yet. And we'll have to pit a bit later in the race. Mork is up and completing the top 10 and is currently on the hard tyre as well. Kieran has saved himself. He's on the soft tyre. Interesting choice. So it'll be quick for about 3 laps as Hans now decides to come in the pits. And in fact, let's jump on with, I think it was Kerzhnikov. Let's see if Kerzhnikov has managed the undercut, sorry. He's now rounding the final bend. It looks like Hans is on his way out to the pit. Oh, this is going to be close. Yeah, he's not at the end of the pit lane yet. Kerzhnikov has got about half the pit lane to get down. I think he's just going to be short. That's Hans up there, I think it is. So, hasn't jumped him. I think he's made up a little bit of time though, and you've got to remember that Hans is going to be on cold tyres, and look, he's already within half a second. So Kerzhnikov is going to be flying on those nice warm hard tyres, so this undercut might work. He's going to have to do it sooner rather than later, and he's already all over the back of him. Is he going to chuck his ERS on? He has. He wants to get the job done here. Kerzhnikov fighting for the lead of the race, going into the fast left-hand corner. Hans just has to bail out of it a little bit. They both have to slow down. Hans is on his way back round down the hill, but no, has to settle for second place while he warms those hard tyres up. Kerzhnikov up into net P1 of the race. He is running with no ERS. We know Hans likes to use a lot of ERS, but I think he's been saving and he's blasting it now. He's not got very good exit out of that chicane, so he's using it just to keep in that DRS zone. He's within half a second, and I wouldn't be surprised to see us seeing this battle continue down the end of the straight. Here we go. So Hans now will be opening his wing. There it is. ERS is on. Kerzhnikov's ERS is not on, so this should be easy for Hans. And Kerzhnikov will probably just want to sit behind him and just recharge a bit of that battery. Hans makes his way back through. His tyres are warm now. He's half a second ahead. Kerzhnikov is going to want to stick with him, bank some ERS, maybe attack him a bit later in the race. There's no need to do it all now. Just keep going. And double 19th place. Only Kitchen behind him, who's out of the race. It's very disappointing. He was up in the points for a large section of this race so far. But that's racing. And we'll probably end up sticking with this battle for a fair while, because it's the closest one on track. It's for the net lead of the race. Kerzhnikov's coming back. Doesn't look like he got the best of exits there out the chicane. He's just trying to hold on to some of that ERS. He's flashing. And this is probably the time for Hans to try and get his foot down. He's out of the second, but he might have just been in it for the activation zone. He is, and it will open. So that is huge, as Connor is in the pit. And if he comes out on medium tyres, they are going to be horrible by the end of the race. And he is coming out on mediums, so let's watch him for the first part of the stint. But those tyres will be horrible by the end of the race, because he's going to have to do 13, 14 laps on them. So he comes out behind Salzer, who I think has still got to pit. Let's have a look at pit stops. Salzer has not pitted yet, and neither has Crudor, who's on the hard tyres. And those hard tyres keep going for a long time yet. So But I think I'm not sure what the loss for a pit stop is here, but I'd say he's looking at coming out in around 4th place, I think. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on Connor. Let's see if he can put in the quickest lap of the race so far. Not really too much going on in the way of overtakes or battles. We've got Pete the Pirate and BV Baldy who are having a bit of a battle, but it looks like BV Baldy's come out on top on that one. As Pete just makes a bit of a mistake but recovers it. Good recovery. Keeps it on track, and he's got Ralvers right up behind him, who can't force his way through just yet. But we'll keep the pressure on. He's making a couple of fake moves and does well to keep out the back of Pete there. He was a little bit quicker, and he's got the traction up the hill. He's using his DRS. For some reason wants to go side by side into this chicane. Pete looks like he's turning into him. He is a little bit, but they've got away with it, and Pete tucks in behind. Wasn't the neatest of driving, but they get away with it, and Ralph makes his way up into 13th. So, not really anything to talk you through right now. Let's see if Pete can come back down the pit straight. He's got no ERS left. And in fact, we'll jump on with BV Baldy in a second, because he's just closing the gap in on MB, which he's just a bit further up the road from these guys. Pete is putting a bit of pressure on, but just can't get close enough. As Pete picks up a 3-second time penalty, and you can see quite comfortably cut that curb. So not surprised, but let's go see if his teammate can do anything on MBB. BV Baldy is running out of ERS as well. His light's flashing, but looks like he's got the pace as he runs wide. And I think I'm jinxing these Haas boys. He's now picked up a 3-second time penalty. So, I mean, they might say I've jinxed them, but I will be saying they got 2 warnings before I jumped on board with them. So, it's your own fault, boys. Nothing to do with me. Anyway, he's on his way around the last couple of corners. He's just inside the DRS activation time, and there's the line to activate. So, should see the swing open. Maybe not. Maybe that wasn't the activation zone, but he hasn't got it on. And he's making his way down the straights and just losing a little bit of time. So that's either the MB is using a bit of ERS, or he's got a better setup in terms of as BV Baldy gets a little bit sideways, and that fight is over. So we're going to jump on board with Connor, who's the next closest man on track, and he is up behind Salza. Did say that Connor might be quite quick for a couple of laps, but these mediums, as he runs very wide into the chicane there. And Double makes his way off the back of the grid. He's up into 18th. And Connor is just outside DRS range. Did he get it before the activation zone? Because I clearly don't know where that activation zone is, because I got it wrong on the last lap, but no. Connor will not get through. Salza is in the pit though, so he will get through. There's some yellow flags down into the final corner. Is that Nuno? Yeah, I think it is Nuno. Wonder if him and Double had a bit of a coming together. Mork gets past Salza, who's in the pit still. Here he comes, on his way down to turn 1. MBB, I don't think he's quite going to get him. I think Souza, yeah, look, he's just on his way out the pits. So Salza's making a good fight back to get some points as the leader now pits. Crudor is in, and he will be coming in to collect some medium tyres. Let's watch Hans, who I think will get past. I think that Crudor will be coming out in 3rd or 4th place here. That's my prediction. If he comes out anywhere higher than that, then he's had a great stint on those hard tyres. Like I said, coming out on the mediums, he will be a bit quicker to start with. They will fade off. So I think the hard tyres are going to be absolutely fine. As Crudor is on his way out, I think it's going to be tight here between him and Prize. And he has kept the place in front of Prize, so that's a great stint from Crudor. If he can get these tyres up to speed, He's definitely on for a podium. So good luck to Crudor. Prize trying to put some pressure on him on those hard tyres. He came in a lot earlier, and I think it's because he was making a few mistakes as he's... I don't know if that is his car glitching. He has lost a bit of time. I think he has held a snap there. Just got to be careful. It's the only thing that lets Prize down really. His pace is good. He's just trying to keep it on track. He has to fight the car quite a lot, and generally what that means is you're getting on the throttle too much, too quickly, and it's unbalancing the car as Salza makes his way past Pete. So there's quite a lot of penalties in the field. So Prize has got a 3 second, Skipper's got a 3 second, Connor's got a 3 second, Mork's got a 3 second, MB has got a 6 second, BV's got 6, Pete's got 3, and Nuno has got 3. So as it stands, Nerdy needs to find a second on Prize to just nick that place off him, but Crudor currently is driving away from Prize, and that's those medium tyres in their early life. He's got them fired up, and he's going to want to try and catch Kersnikov out in front. We'll keep an eye on that gap and see if he's bringing it down. There's not really anyone on track. Let's have a look at Chef, actually. We haven't seen much of him today. He's trying to get on the back of Pete, who looks a bit scruffy out of the chicane. And we've got Composite just behind them, so we'll jump on board with Composite and we'll watch the fight in front, because we've got some yellow flags. That's Ralvers, I think, and it's round this corner. Chef runs wide, and of course Composite cannot overtake because of the yellow flags, and there he is. Oh, that's MBB. Oh, someone's just gone into the pits. Who was that? Oh, I thought someone went in the pits. They did. Was that Chef? Yeah, it was Chef. So Composite's through, and his ERS light is flashing. He's chasing down Pete the Pirate, and that's for 13th place. Kieran makes his way up. Has he got rid of? He must have got rid of those soft tyres by now. He has. He's on the hards, so he'll be running to the end. Crudor now sets the fastest lap of the race on those medium tyres, and he has taken the gap down to 3 seconds. It was 4 prior to this. And Price is just dropping back. So I think he's going to have to try and settle for 4th here. He's just going to have to keep Nerdy at arm's length. This Composite runs a bit wide, but he's got the run on Pete now. It'll be very risky to do it down into here. And Wisely just waits a little bit longer. Waits a little bit later in the lap. And looks like he's taken that nice and neatly. And he's 7/10ths back from Pete, and he should get DRS. He didn't have too much ERS when he was on board with it, so he should have DRS. And let's see if he can make any inroads. He's got his ERS on, but he's flashing. But Pete is also flashing, and Pete's trying to break that slipstream. Just be careful of the changes of direction. I think it's just about okay, as Kershnikov now is nearly within a second of Hans, and will probably be coming back for another fight towards the end of this race. 7 laps to go. Kershnikov seems to be very, very sensible with his, is this blue flags? I think it is. I think it's Nuno and that, yeah. So it does very well to get out of the way. And this is still the closest battle on track, as Crudor is now within 2 seconds of Kershnikov. So let's just keep an eye on those gaps. We'll stick with Composite for now and see if he can make an impression on Pete. And if he can't, we will jump up front and see what's going on. That time is under 2 seconds now for Crudor. As Kershnikov and Pete picks up another penalty. We didn't see it. It was just in front of Composite. But Composite looks ever closer now. And the ERS is on. I'm assuming Pete's is on. It is. It's flashing. And Composite's right up behind him. And Pete's going to have nothing to do about that one. Oh, as he goes onto the grass trying to defend it. He's had to come back on behind. Not sure what Pete's doing, but he's run wide again. Very scruffy from Pete. Composite put more than enough pressure on, as Salza is now within a second. We've got some yellow flags, can't see where it is, it's cleared up quite quickly. Salza's now putting some pressure on Ralvers, he's within a second. And that gap at the front, so it's still a second Kerzhnikov to Hans, and Krudor is nearly within a second of Kerzhnikov, but I think Krudor's just about to find that those mediums are coming to the end of their best. So the time that's being gained might just start to slow down, but he is still eking a bit of time out of them. So let's see if Salza can make this move, and once that happens, we'll jump straight up to the front of the field. And in fact, where are the leaders on the track? They are just coming round up to the chicane now, so we'll jump on them for the straight to see if they can, because DRS for both drivers, first, second and third, are all within 2 seconds of each other. So it's going to be an interesting last few laps. Salza is now making his move. He looks like he's side by side with Ralvers. He is, and he's made it past into turn one. So let's go up to the front of the field then. Let's jump on with Hans, making his way round the last corner. Let's actually watch from Krudor's point of view. He's half a second back from Kerzhnikov, so he's got no ERS, that's a problem. Kerzhnikov has not got much ERS, and I can't quite see Hans, so let's stick on board with Krudor and follow this three-way battle. We're finally going to see some action. Connor is close to Jurek, but we're going to stick with this battle. So we'll see if Connor can make his way through. We'll keep an eye on the timing boards as Krudor runs a little bit wide. So just got to be careful. He's done such a good job of getting up here, and it's so easy when you're following cars to follow their line. You've just got to make sure you're concentrating on the track and keeping yourself tucked into each of those apexes, not losing any time, and that's how you're going to get past these guys. That's the key. As you can see, Kerzhnikov is now really going to start putting pressure on Hans. As Krudor takes that very nicely, and you can see he's just made up a little bit more time on both of them. It's so key an exit out of that corner as they make their way down the hill. So it's Hans, Kerzhnikov, Krudor on the faster tyre, but I think that tyre will have seen the best of its ability and will start to wear down, so we'll see if he can keep contact with these guys. The hard tyre seems to just go on forever, and it does look like Kerzhnikov who's the one that's going to start putting some pressure on, and he's going to put pressure on Hans, but just not quite quick enough through that first section. You can see Krudor's made a better deal of it. He's closed up the gap to Kerzhnikov now, so really trading blows, these three, as Hans just keeps them at arm's length and has actually pulled a second gap. So I wonder if this is just the strong part of the track for Hans. As you can see, Kerzhnikov is now starting to reel him in. I wonder if he's just punching a bit of ERS to try and stay in that DRS, and Krudor again runs wide. He's got to be careful he doesn't pick up a 3-second penalty. That will be painful if he was to do that. You can see Prize Phantom's just not had the pace at this stage of the race to keep up with it. He's 5.8 behind, and Nerdy's then 7.4 behind him. And Nerdy's going to want to try and push to get within 3 seconds so he can nick that 4th place. But Krudor within half a second, Kerzhnikov within half a second. This could be any one of these three's race. Who will blink first? Who will make the mistake? But Krudor looks ever closer on this lap. And we've got Kerzhnikov, whose light is flashing. Both of them have got DRS. I don't quite think Krudor's going to be there, but he is right up him, right on his gearbox, and he's taken that lovely. He's going to keep the pressure on him. The time is coming down. I just don't think he's going to have enough to get side by side. Kerzhnikov really under pressure. His ERS is out, and you can just see, I think that's Pete maybe trying to get out of the way of everyone as Krudor makes a mistake. That's huge. And is that going to bring Prize back into it as the back markers are just trying to keep out of the way? But it's a bit of a mess, and there's Prize in the background. It's not enough, and you know he's got a 3-second penalty as well, so maybe Kerzhnikov then is the man to watch. Can he catch Hans, who's at the front of the championship, front of the race, and he's to try and close in on him? He's gonna have to get an overtake done. He's got 3 laps left to do it, not too much ERS either, so it's going to be tough. But As Crudor now just compounds a mistake with a mistake and picks up a 3-second time penalty. It shouldn't damage his race, with Prize also on a 3-second penalty behind him. Nerdy is too far back to take advantage of that, as we have got yellow flags in Sector 1. It's cleared, and it's Pete, or it's BV Baldy, I think it's one of the Haas boys, as Kerzhnikov now outside of a second of Hans. His wing is open though, which means that he was within a second on the DRS detection zone, but Hans is really pushing now and will be looking to try and stay out of that second gap, which will mean that Kerzhnikov is probably not going to have a chance to win this race. It's all about who can keep a cool head, but Kerzhnikov seems to have a really good exit in comparison to Hans out of there, as Skipper makes his way past Nerdy. Didn't see that coming, didn't see that gap, as Jurek seems to be... I wonder if Nerdy's made a mistake. I think he has, because Jurek is now all over the back of him. 1/10 away, he's going to try and slingshot around the outside, he can't make it work. Nerdy tries to give him room, but doesn't need to. Kerzhnikov's within a half a second again of the lead of the race. So I'm going to jump back up there. Is Kerzhnikov... Has he got the legs to do it? Hans looks like he's got just enough ERS. I just can't call what's going to happen here. I'm gonna stick my neck out there and say Hans is going to hold it. I think he's got just enough pace. ERS or not. Kerzhnikov does well through that first couple of corners, but Hans also does well. So the gap is as it was. And it's this corner here that Hans... I think Hans just has... Yeah, look, he runs quite wide through that corner, which is why Kerzhnikov just gets such a good slingshot. But he's only got one more lap to hold on. And Nerdy is back on the gearbox of Skipper. We're not going to go to it. We're going to stick with the lead of the race, because we wouldn't want to miss anything up here. But Nerdy and Jurek are the ones to watch. Connor is also trying to join the battle, but with 6 seconds of penalties, it's not going to help him. So he'll probably just want to stay away from the battle and bring his car home. So we enter the last lap of the race, and it is Hans from Kerzhnikov. Kerzhnikov, if he's going to do it, has to do it now. Both of them will be deploying their ERS, whatever they've got left in the tank. And Kerzhnikov is the closest he's been for a long time. He's within 0.3 of a second, and it's not enough. But we mentioned it last lap. This is the place to do it. On this hairpin up here, we know that Hans doesn't seem to get the best drive out of here. So if Kerzhnikov is going to do it, I think it's now. But he runs out wide, so he's not going to get the best of exits. It's still better than Hans, but it's not enough. So really, there's only one overtaking spot left, and that is the penultimate corner. To be fair, in Division 2, we saw Stav win by 0.007 on the run down to the line. Could we be about to see the exact same thing here? I think Hans will do this. I think Hans will be able to keep this. So Kerzhnikov, as there's a McLaren, it's Jurek who has lost it on the last lap. I think he's going to lose 2 more places, but we've got Hans comes over the line to win the race. Kerzhnikov in second. We've got Crudor, who's had a very good race as well, come home in third. Prize Phantom, unfortunately, he'll be disappointed, and you can see that he's a little bit disappointed. Comes over in fourth. Skipper is now on his way down the hill. Managed to get his way past Nerdy, but Nerdy is going to get the actual place because of the 3-second time penalty to Skipper. So Skipper will take the checkered flag. Nerdy will nick his position. Connor will stick in to 7th place. And then we've got Jurek, who's just made a mistake on the last lap. Will come around and pick up 8th. We've got Mork then, who is in 9th. with a 3-second penalty, but again, far enough down the road from Selzer, who's going to be very disappointed after qualifying on pole in the sprint. He will pick up a championship point, but he would have wanted a lot more. He certainly had the pace. He really dominated in quali, but he will come over in 10th. We've got Ralph, who has got BV Boldy for company, but he's got 9 seconds of penalty, so Ralphers will pick up 11th. BV Boldy will drop down to 13th, and that will let the Ferrari composite through into 13th. And then that is the end of the race, because the others are a lap down. So congratulations again to Hans. He's in the lead of the championship. He's won this race. And he was very classy. In fact, I think there were 3 very classy drivers in that main race. So the top 3 really deserved to be up there. They were pretty clean the whole way round. And I think Crudor for me is probably my driver of the day, who went on the alternate strategy. Looked like he was going to make it work, but just made that mistake. But he picked up the podium. Hans did a very, very good job. And Kerzhnikov did well in the early stages of the race, which meant he picked up that 2nd place. So congratulations to those 3. Some other good drives out there as well, and there'll be some people that are disappointed out there as well, but it was a great race to watch. Not too much to really recall in terms of big pile-ups or anything. In fact, I don't remember a safety car at all in either the sprint or the main race. So well done to everyone involved. So just to recap, we've got Hans, who wins the race, Kerzhnikov in 2nd, Crudor 3rd, Prize Phantom after dominating the sprint and really looking like he was going to dominate the race. He comes home in 4th, Nerdy sticks into 5th place, Skipper 6th, Connor in 7th, Urek in 8th after his quali ban, Mork in 9th, Salza in 10th. We've then got Ralph, Composite, BV Boldy, Kieran, P, MBB, Chef, Double, Nuno, and then Kitchen, who DNF'd at the end. So that is Division 5. Congratulations to Hans and well done to the guys on the podium. Great race to watch. Good luck for the rest of the season, and we'll be back next week.